Hi there, good evening. It's 18:30 Greenwich Meridian time. This is News Tonight. Our headlines this evening. National Service Personnel Association suspends capacity building program with immediate effect following backlash over monthly deduction of 60 cedis from NSS allowances.
The capacity building program, as currently structured, is hereby suspended with immediate effect, pending a comprehensive review of the program for a decisive action to be taken, which is in line with our sector minister.
We'll take it to Parliament because the minorities vow in action on the 20-year jail sentence handed to Ashanti Regional MPP Chairman Bernard Nkwiboesiako, arguing that the judgment is fundamentally flawed.
Speak not as advocates for one man, but as custodians of a constitutional order that must apply equally to every Ghanaian, regardless of political color.
On the OSP's matter involving Ken Ofori-Atta, the special prosecutor maintains that the former finance minister remains a fugitive from justice despite a U.S. court ruling that found no evidence of criminal conduct. We'll take it to the world of business because the former Deputy Finance Minister, Dr. Stephen Amwa, is calling for major policy shifts to address the high cost of living and ease the economic burden of Ghanaians.
Cap law or policy can be introduced to deal with the exorbitant charges by monopolies, oligopolies, and cartels in our existing market economy system, which inimically impacting cost and standard of living in Ghana.
Much later, ECOWAS is calling on Guinea-Bissau's military leaders to release detained opposition figures amid growing concerns over the country's political climate. We are grateful that you could join us for this evening's broadcast. This live from our studio here at the Platinum Place and across our social media platforms at GHOne TV. My name is Emmanuel Agyabeng. The Ghana Police Service has rescued 9 Nigerian nationals allegedly trafficked into the country and forced into cybercrime and other fraudulent activities. The victims were rescued during an intelligence-led operation at an apartment at Mataiku, Afienya, with police identifying callers Olayi Ojo as a suspected leader of the syndicate. Briefing the media at the CID headquarters in Accra, Director General of the CID, COP Lydia Yakodonko, said efforts are underway to identify and apprehend other individuals connected to the operation.
In an intelligence-led operation conducted on 3rd July 2026, the suspects are Collins Francis Olayi Ojo, Matthew Balogun, Jahid Bello, Abdul Rahman Nufizi, Talent Sinivi, Prey Morrison, Lawal Abdul Aziz, David Ogogbona, Gift Prince, and Kingsley Honest. They were arrested at an apartment suspected to be used as an operational base for the activities. Preliminary investigations established that Collins Francis Olayi Ojo is the coordinator and leader of the group. He is accused of facilitating the movement of 9 Nigerian nationals from Nigeria to Ghana by road and subjecting them to cyber-enabled fraudulent activities under his direction. The 9 individuals were identified as victims of human trafficking and exploitation and have been rescued and placed at a safe location for further action. A search conducted at the premises led to the retrieval of 28 laptop computers and 9 mobile phones, all of which have been secured for digital forensic examination. Suspect Collins Francis Olayi Ojo has been put before the Accra High Court and remanded into police custody. Investigations are ongoing to identify and arrest any other connected person.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor says only Ghanaian courts, not a United States immigration court, have the authority to determine the criminal charges pending against former Finance Minister Kenneth Ofori-Atta. The clarification follows the circulation of a transcript from a U.S. immigration court hearing, which some media reports suggested cast doubt on the credibility of the criminal case against Mr. Ofori-Atta. In a statement, the OSP said it is not a party to the U.S. immigration proceedings and that its involvement is limited to extradition proceedings being pursued through Ghana's Attorney General. In a statement, the OSP said it is not a party to the U.S. immigration proceedings and that it stressed that extradition request is separate from the immigration case that is not before the U.S. immigration court. According to the OSP, questions about the validity of the charges and Mr. Ofori-Atta's guilt or innocence can only be determined by the courts in Ghana. It also questioned the public commentary has wrongly conflated three separate legal processes: the criminal trial in Ghana, the extradition proceedings, and the U.S. immigration matter. The office further maintained that Mr. Ofori-Atta remains wanted by the Ghanaian courts and that the High Court arrest warrant issued against him remains valid. As to Parliament, the minority there has criticized an Accra High Court decision which handed down a 20-year jail term to Ashanti Regional MPP Chairman Bernard Boesiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi. According to the MPP MPs, the judgment lacked the necessary legal grounding in arriving at the conclusion it did. Addressing the media in Parliament, Deputy Minority Leader Patricia P.J. argued the High Court delivered the judgment without evaluating any clear evidence linking Wontumi to illegal mining as claimed by the prosecution. The Asokwa MP further questioned why the presiding judge punished Wontumi for supposed offence of Akunta mining.
Some judgments settle a case, others test a nation. Ghana will be judged in years to come, not by the sentencing handed down in Accra yesterday, but by how faithfully we defended our Constitution in the aftermath. We speak today on behalf of the Minority Caucus in response to the judgment convicting the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Mr. Bernard Boesiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, and Akunta Mining Limited. We speak not as advocates for one man, but as custodians of a constitutional order that must apply equally to every Ghanaian, regardless of political color. The New Patriotic Party has already issued its own statement on this matter, expressing profound disappointment, insisting no evidence showed that Wontumi unlawfully assigned his mineral rights, and calling the conviction a travesty of justice. We do not repeat that statement here. We in the minority, we do not repeat this.
Joining us via call for a conversation is John Darko, who is MP for Suame constituency in the Ashanti region. He doubles as a lawyer and also speaks for the minority in a number of matters. Council, good evening. Grateful for your time this evening. Mr. Darko, can you hear me? We are working the lines to have a conversation with John Darko, who is the Honourable Member of Parliament for the Suame constituency in the Ashanti region. The minority's position really on this matter is that the 20-year jail sentence handed down to Chairman Wontumi is a travesty of justice. They believe that the judgment of the High Court in Accra is fundamentally flawed, and they allude to a number of legal defects in that particular decision by the court. Indeed, what we have seen in evidence is the 51 court decision that was issued following that particular sentencing of Chairman Wontumi. The 51-page document itemizes the counts of charges that was leveled against him, itemizes some of the issues for which the minority's position has been that there has been some fundamental flaw to the ruling. We have John Darko back on the line. Honorable, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
We are grateful that you could join us for this conversation. Just gone by was the sound bites of the Deputy Minority Leader, Madam Patricia PJ, Honorable Member of Parliament for Asokwa, where your side of the House believes that this particular judgment is fundamentally flawed, alluding to a number of arguments. We want to understand why this position.
All right, thank you, and good evening to your viewers, your cherished viewers. I think that the point has been made. We always want to put it on record that the NPP as a party is a party that believes in accountability. We believe that people who get opportunity to serve government must be accountable to the people. We also believe that illegal mining is bad, it's not good for our country, and that it shouldn't be countenanced. But that notwithstanding, in the case of Chairman Wontumi, we know that the judge came to the conclusion that Chairman Wontumi was not engaging in illegal mining activity. I think that has been well articulated through the judgment and the commentaries. We know that Chairman Wontumi was not convicted for engaging in galamsey. What we know is that he was convicted based on Section 14 of Act 703, which is to the effect that you do not transfer your interest in the mining lease without ministerial approval. And so with Chairman Wontumi, the 20 years he's going to jail is because he transferred his interest in mining lease without ministerial approval. Now, first of all, we believe that particular provision, Section 14 of Act 703, doesn't even criminalize the transfer of mineral license without ministerial approval. The mere transfer without ministerial approval does not criminalize the act, and that at best, the transfer without ministerial approval will make the transfer void. We've made that point, but what is dangerous reading from the judgment is the fact that the judge used the Minerals and Mining Amendment Act 995, Section 99, as the basis for sentencing Chairman Wontumi. Now, anybody, and I will invite anybody who cares to get a copy of the Minerals and Mining Amendment Act 995. You will see that Act 995 amends Section 81 to 98 of Minerals and Mining Act 703. Now, in the amendment provision, it says at Section 81 that Section 99, okay, it applies only to those who engage in illegal mining activity or those who engage in small-scale illegal mining activity. So two things. The law is very clear. Anybody, you can project it on your TV. Anybody who cares to read, if you open the at 995, you see that under 81, it talks about application of Section 99. And the application of Section 99, which is the provision that gives the judgment, okay? That is the provision that helps us with the guidelines for the sentences. That particular provision applies only to illegal mining activities and small-scale illegal mining activity. It is written there black and white. And so to be able to convict Chairman Wontumi under Section 99 2B, you must have first proven that Chairman Wontumi was engaging in illegal mining activity. Now, from what the judge is saying, it seems to me that the judge is equating the transfer of interest without ministerial approval. His question is as the same as engaging in illegal mining activity. But you and I know that if you give me a land to go and mine, that is large-scale mining activity. And if I have to transfer my interest, I need to inform the minister. If I don't inform the minister, right, and the person goes onto the land and doesn't engage in, let's say, for instance, any illegal activity, can you tell me that by the mere transfer of my interest to somebody without ministerial approval makes me criminal and that I should go to jail for 20 years? That is not how the law is supposed to be applied. In fact, again, for those who care to know and who want to read, you see that section 99 of Act 995 applies only to small-scale illegal mining activities. And it was extended to cover illegal mining activities. And so before anybody can be convicted under Section 99 of Act 995, the court must first, you are either engaging in small-scale illegal small-scale mining activity or illegal mining activity. If you are unable to prove that and you sentence the person based on Section 99 2B, you'll be misapplying the law. And I believe that the judge fell in that grave error, and that is why we are asking the lawyers of Chairman to appeal the sentence, and hopefully that sentence will be overturned on appeal.
Honorable John Darko, we are grateful for that clear explanation on this particular subject. He maintains that the judge in this matter and the person of Justice Kukuvite made a grave error when it comes to interpretation of some provisions as per the amendments of the Minerals Act. He mentions that they are impressing on Chairman Wuntumi's lawyer to appeal the decision of the court. We're certainly following this matter keenly to see what the updates will be. But a section of Guineans have welcomed the 20-year prison sentence handed to Chairman Wuntumi. And according to them, they believe that this particular sentence over mining-related charges sends a strong message against environmental offences and demonstrates that influential individuals can be held accountable under the law.
The person in question is also questionable because he has his own, how should I call it? He has his own problems, or he made his own statements and he placed himself into this situation he is right now. So yes, under his own government back then, they were also fighting for stopping of this Galamsey menace. So if the new government is in and then they are prosecuting people who are having illegal mining or doing illegal mining, I think it's in the right path.
Him being served the 20 years for the destroying of our forest reserves and the lands and all that, spoiling our water bodies, which every now and then every Ghanaian is complaining about the Galamsey. I think this is also going to serve as a lesson because every person out there or in the bushes destroying our reserves is also going to learn from this and also going to have a second thought. If power doesn't change, I'm believing he's going to serve the 20 years. And moreover, he has already got some pending issues as well. So I'm believing probably he might as well get maybe additional ones as well.
I do believe in a judicial system because I think Agada's situation is more of like a social kind of thing, right? That could have been looked into or been given a second chance. But with Wuntumi's own, it has been something that we've been fighting for a very long time. It has become like an international news. It has become like a thing where everybody was fighting against. I mean, we had people on the streets being arrested for the whole thing. We fighting for the rights of our land and being able to have like our natural resources to use to our benefits are being destroyed, and people are making money off of it. So I believe, the laws of our country is actually working.
I think if it's going to base on this illegal mining as, let me say, a sign of deterrent to some of us or those who are engaged strictly, then it's going to do us, all of us, a good thing because we know what is going on and what is going to happen, even, let's say, centuries to come, because we have a lot of our resources that has been devastated due to human activities. And so, Wuntumi being the man as a frontliner in this issue, I think it's going to serve as a serious and a severe deterrent to those who are going to be the strong and this energetic, that they are not going to hear anything that the government is going. They are also going to do their own source of mining. And
the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council has begun reclaiming land destroyed by illegal mining activities near the Agenda 111 hospital site at Adanse, Asokwa. The exercise follows the seizure of 2 excavators and other mining equipment allegedly used by illegal miners operating around the area. The RCC says the move is aimed at restoring the environment and protecting critical public infrastructure from further encroachment. Ashanti Regional Correspondent Isaac Justice Bediako has more.
The reclamation exercise aimed to restore degraded land for productive use, including agriculture, while safeguarding the nearby Agenda 111 hospital project from further encroachment at Adanse Asokwa. Speaking during the exercise inspection, the Chief Executive Officer of Agrocentric Dentistry Limited, GHOne Yamson, said his company had partnered with the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council to undertake scientific soil remediation to restore ecological health of mined out lands.
Our involvement in this exercise is to conduct what is called microbial ecological research, where we use bacteria inoculants, microbial inoculants or bacteria, let me put it that way. We cultivate bacteria, we apply it to the soil in order to break down or make the chemicals in the soil lose its bioavailability. And then after that, we apply carbon or activated biochar in order to make the soil reproductive again.
He said the project would cultivate oil-yielding shrubs capable of producing high-value essential oil for local processing and exports.
We want to do this because we've realized that anytime we do the reclamation, and sometimes you do planting, you even plant trees, and you leave, they come back and they start the mining, the illegal mining activities again. So this time what we want to do is to introduce something called social inclusivity, where after doing the reclamation, we treat the soil, we apply the bacteria and all the necessary elements that need to remediate the soil, and after that we plant shrubs or oil yielding plants, and then we engage the community. We employ people who would be working with regards to the cultivation of the plants and then the harvesting. After harvesting, we process it and then we extract high value oils or essential oils that can be sold out.
Deputy Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator Alhaji Inje said the reclamation exercise formed part of a broader climate action and anti-illegal mining program being implemented across Ashanti region. He disclosed that authorities were undertaking district-by-district interventions, including temporary ban on mining activities in some areas to facilitate land restorations.
We are into this reclamation program in the region, which we are seriously on it. We are going district by district, and some areas we have even placed bans, some ranging 2 weeks, some 1 month, to make sure we get these lands back. That's why we have these agri-centric and lodges and other institutions with us to assist or support the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council and make sure we have a success in this program. And when we came here, we still see, as the reclamation is going on, we've still seen some boys around. It means if we are not careful, in the next few days or weeks, you realize they are on the premises of the Agenda 111 itself. So we'll have to wake up and fight.
The reclamation activities form part of the government's broader effort to combat illegal mining, restore degraded lands of Galamsey activities. Reporting for GHOne News, Isaac Justice Bediako.
Ghana has secured an initial $250,000 grant from the World Gold Council to support responsible artisanal and small-scale mining as part of a broader $1 million partnership. The initiative aims to strengthen legal gold trading, improve environmental standards, and curb illegal mining, together with gold smuggling. Speaking at the signing ceremony in Accra, Lands Minister Emmanuel described the partnership as a significant boost to government's efforts to formalize the small-scale mining sector.
Grant forms part of a memorandum of understanding between the government of Ghana and the World Gold Council to promote responsible gold production and improve the integrity of the country's gold supply chain. The first tranche of funding will support the registration of mining cooperatives under Ghana's flagship Arcomstep program, with the broader partnership expected to mobilize up to $1 million. Lands and Natural Resources Minister Emmanuel says the collaboration marks another step towards building a transparent, sustainable and globally competitive small-scale mining industry.
This partnership simply affirms the work we've been doing. We share a vision together as we've been to establish a national network of accessible and trusted processing plants, operating to the highest standards of responsible sourcing and providing artisanal miners with sufficient incentives to direct artisanal gold to the formal supply chain. This will also contribute to all what we are all trying to do. A Ghana that is Africa's largest gold producer, but Africa's responsible gold producer.
President of the World Gold Council, David Tate, says Ghana's reforms have the potential to become a benchmark for other gold-producing countries seeking to formalize artisanal and small-scale mining.
The reasons are obvious. This is not necessarily a case of trying to keep gold within countries and stuff, although that is very important to an economy and a government. I understand that. But the ecology, the destruction of water courses, these are going to have material impacts on your world and on the worlds of many other countries out there.
The partnership will also support the development of a nationwide network of responsible gold processing centers that meet internationally recognized sourcing standards, helping ensure more Ghanaian gold enters the global market through legal and traceable channels.
Insight is up next. The National Service Personnel Association, NASPA, has suspended its capacity building program following concerns over the deduction of a 60 Ghana cedi monthly fee from the allowances of National Service personnel. The National Service Authority, NSA, had earlier said it did not authorize the deductions, insisting that it was a decision taken by the leadership of the National Service Personnel Association, NASPA. Speaking to the media, President of NASPA, Abdul Wahab Bola Ahmed Mohammed, said the decision followed a directive from the Minister for Youth, Employment and Development, George Opariado, after widespread concerns were raised by service personnel over the deductions.
We believed that the package represented value for money, especially considering the potential return on investment in terms of your future employability. However, we fully acknowledge that the financial commitment required may not have been reasonable for all service personnel. Based on this progress, NASPA formally requested the National Service Authority to facilitate a reduction of 60 Ghana cedis to represent the duration of the training over a 4-month learning period. That's 15 cedis per month. So as to offset part of the program cost already incurred, which was what was deducted in the last allowance. However, as concerns about the program intensified, particularly regarding the deductions and the level of consultation, we took our time to engage our newly elected regional executives, receive feedback from service personnel, and as well as carefully review the issues that had been raised. Over the past few days, we have been engaged by the management of the National Service Authority over the concerns and frustrations expressed. In response to the feedback from the service personnel and general public, and as well as in line with the sector ministers and board's directive, the management have issued this directive to NASPA. The capacity building program, as currently structured, is hereby suspended with immediate effect, pending a comprehensive review of the program for a decisive action to be taken, which is in line with our sector minister.
Well, Abdul Wahab Mohammed joins me now. He's president of NASPA. Mohammed, good evening.
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, please, I am Bruce Samson Jr., former NASPA Western Region President, not Abdul Wahab.
So there's no Abdul Wahab. Let me take you back to, Bruce, let me take you back to the bite we just played from Abdul Wahab, and he maintains this particular position that there has been some engagement with you leading to the decision to suspend this particular levy with immediate effect. Help me understand, before this particular deduction, was there such engagement?
Can you come again? It wasn't very clear.
I was asking that Wahab says, that's your president, he maintains that the cancellation with immediate effect, the suspension, is being made now based off a meeting held with you as regional presidents, district leaders, among other things. I want to know if similar was held before this particular capacity building program was agreed to.
Okay. So today's directive to suspend the training section and then the deduction with immediate effect was as a result of the a directive from the sector minister after a deliberation by the NASPA executive board. And not necessarily something that was just come up with. But then before this whole training program or initiative was rolled out, there were engagements with various regional presidents. And then that's the council made up of regional presidents. That was done. And then the engagement also trickled down to the district level because NASPA has a nomenclature. We have the district president, regional president, and then the national president. So the regional president making the council came together and then took this decision. So it has nothing to do with NSA or the authority on its own. It's purely an association-based decision.
But what I do know for SRC is that there's usually committee meetings, as you've mentioned, a similar thing being done with NASPA. But I want to find out from you, before you make this decision, did you have engagement even with service personnel, or it was just at the leadership level?
Okay. So we did have engagement, but just let me draw you back a bit based on what you even said. According to SRC, how decisions are taken by at the committee level. NASPA, the nomenclature as NASPA, we elect representatives who are who take care of the decision making of the association. You see, the district level executive, that's the district president and the other executives, are elected by the average service personnel to represent them at the regional level. And these same district executives also come together as a conference to also elect one person to lead them at the regional level, who is the regional president. Then at the national level, various regional executives also elect one person or elect persons to lead them at the national level. So the decision-making body starts from the very basic level, that's the district, and then it goes to the top, the national level. So whatever decisions that are made, it trickles down to the district level where the district executives have engagement with the service personnel, and that was done. I was a former president. I was a president for SCMA, Secondary Academy Metropolitan Assembly. We did that. We sent letters to companies or let's say institutions where we had our first general meeting, and these things would be discussed. So that was done at the very basic level. Just that we acknowledge the fact that we're not able to cover all areas as it should have been. So all of those factors have been considered. That's why the review is currently ongoing and the whole initiative has been suspended. We are waiting on management and then the sector minister to come back to us to sit down for the review to also conclude the whole issue.
One major ask on the minds of many Ghanaians at the mention of a 60 Ghana cedi fee deduction for over 50,000 personnel minimum every other month till the end of the program is, what form will this capacity building program even take? Many seem lost on that particular idea and why you felt the need to run such a program.
I think what has led to this whole confusion, or let's say information asymmetry, is the fact that most persons do not some of our people, not necessarily service personnel, do not have accurate or let's say up-to-date information of what these training programs are. We are talking about training on IT, training on coding, training on something like basic law, and all. These are not courses that can be easily learned or let's say very cheap. If persons in that sector or that field would be very honest with us, they are not cheap. But then after much deliberation and then consideration, we sat down as council and then spoke to the leaders at NEC, that's our national president, some of us even disagreed that the price that we're supposed to take was even too much. So we had to reduce it to that particular level. That's 15 cedis a month. 15 Ghana cedis a month. So that 60 cedis that has been deducted is the quarterly deduction for 4 months of training. As of now, you see, there has been some processes that have gone on. Training session has taken place. Expenditure on logistics and all of those things have happened. You get so that's what necessitated that deduction of 60 cedis. It's not just for a single month; it's for a period of 4 good months, 15 cedis per month.
Bruce, thank you so much for that particular clarification. We just spoke to Bruce on the matter involving the National Service Capacity Building Program. He clarifies that it is not a 60 Ghana cedi levy a month, and it's actually 15 Ghana cedis with every quarter taking 60, making it 4 times 15. That clarification we have gotten now. We do understand from him as well that there would be a meeting with the National Service Authority and then the sector minister, the Minister for Youth Empowerment and Development, that is Mr. George Apariado Esquire, for further details on what move the service personnel would take really concerning this particular capacity building program. And that does it for Insight here tonight.
A thriving cocoa
Welcome back from the break. For more than 2 decades, global health funding has helped transform Ghana's fight against HIV and AIDS, expanding access to treatment, testing, and even prevention. But after major cuts to United States-supported programs, Ghana is now facing the challenge of replacing critical financing while protecting hard-won gains. Nabil Ahmed Rufaya reports.
Reverend John Azuma represents a generation of Ghanaians whose lives were changed by one of the world's largest global health partnerships. For more than 20 years, he has lived with HIV, relying on treatment supported through international health programs. Nearly 2 decades ago, he founded the Motherly Love Orphanage in Accra to care for abandoned children living with HIV. Today, he worries that reduced donor support could threaten the progress that allowed people like him to live longer, healthier lives.
Our life is all around the medicine. So for us to hear that the agency that provide the medicine is no more going to provide because they are cutting the funding, it was a big blow for us.
For years, Ghana's HIV response operated with significant support from the United States through the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, known as PEPFAR. Since 2007, the program has invested more than $200 million in Ghana, funding medicines, laboratory systems, testing, and community programs. That money helped build a health delivery system that public health experts say produced remarkable returns.
Mother-to-child transmission has been drastically reduced. Here we know people who are positive or retro-positive, and they've had 4 children, and none of the children have been infected, and they are all doing well.
But in early 2025, the global pause and subsequent collapse of US aid and PEPFAR health financing programs changed the economics of Ghana's HIV response. The first impact was felt by organizations delivering services at community level. Civil society groups that provided testing, education, and patient support faced funding shortages, leading to major job losses and reduced outreach capacity. Ghana is facing an estimated health funding gap of more than $150 million. Nearly $80 million of that shortfall is expected to affect critical health interventions, including malaria control program, child health, and the fight against HIV and AIDS. But Ghana's response to changing U.S. health policy has not only been about finding replacement funding, it has also been about negotiating the terms of future partnerships. This year, Ghana walked away from talks over a proposed multi-year health agreement with the United States, citing concerns about issues including data protection, legal jurisdiction, and control over national health systems. The disagreement has left Ghana searching for alternative ways to sustain programs previously supported through international financing. But in the meantime, some worrying signs are already emerging.
Recently, the Global Fund warned us that looking at our current stock levels, by the end of this very month, July, we're going to have a stockout of HIV testing kits in the health facilities. So, and I personally have also received calls from some health facilities across the country complaining about the unavailability of test kits.
Health economists say the challenge goes beyond finding replacement funding. It raises a larger question about how Ghana finances essential healthcare. The government says healthcare investment has increased, with health allocations rising by more than 6 billion Ghana cedis between the 2025 and 2026 budgets. But analysts say replacing external support will require difficult decisions about priorities, spending, and accountability. They say Ghana must strengthen domestic financing through mechanisms such as sustainable national health funds, stronger insurance systems, and partnerships with private sector suppliers. For Reverend Azuma, the debate is not about budgets or international agreements. It is about whether people living with HIV can continue receiving the treatment that has allowed them to survive, work, and care for others. Because behind every funding gap is a real cost, measured not only in dollars, but in lives and livelihoods. Nabil Ahmed Rufai, GHOne News.
Ghana has recorded a significant drop in new HIV infections and AIDS-related deaths according to the 2025 National HIV Estimates and Projections by the Ghana AIDS Commission. New HIV infections fell from 16,189 in 2024 to 13,951 in 2025, while AIDS-related deaths declined from 13,429 to 12,000, representing a nearly 14% reduction. Presenting the report in Accra, the Commission's Director of Research, Monitoring and Evaluation, Isaiah Doe-Kwao, attributed the progress to sustained investments in HIV testing, treatment, and care. The report also shows 19,528 adolescents aged 10 to 19 and are living with HIV, while 33,317 young people aged 15 to 24 are affected. The Commission says challenges remain in identifying people unaware of their HIV status, expanding testing, and ensuring a steady supply of life-saving medicines. It is calling for stronger collaboration to sustain the gains made. Oh, we have the Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Kamsel Prosper Agyabeng, joining us for a conversation. Doc, good evening.
Good evening to you and your guests.
Grateful for your time as well this evening. We are seeing 14% reduction for us, and based on your work so far, what key factors led to this significant decline?
All right, thank you so much. You would recall that since the beginning of last year, 2025, the Ghana AIDS Commission, together with its partners and stakeholders, started increasing our activities in our outreach services and our awareness programs about HIV in the country. We also ramped up the self-testing mechanisms where people can, on their self-evaluation test to know their status. The most important aspect that brought the new infection down is people beginning to become aware of the HIV as a public health threat again. Hitherto, you would recall that for about 10 or more years now, less noise was made about HIV as a public health issue. But since 2025, the Ghana AIDS Commission, through our outreach programs, especially with the First Lady for various areas that we do outreach services, have brought their attention to Ghanaians to know their status, to test, and then be aware of the sexual behaviors they take. That is the most contributing factor to a new production, new infection. And of course, I heard your report that there's also a significant reduction in HIV-related deaths. This is because we are together with our stakeholders, we have been able to bump up the number of people who are on treatment. As long as you're on treatment, you are always living a healthy life. And if you look at the statistics, we have been able to increase the number of people who know their status to about 80%. We have also been able to put 82% of those who know their status on treatment, and 92% of those who are on treatment have suppressed their virus. And as long as you identify yourself and put on treatment, survival is always very good. That is it. That's why we're having these good results.
Looking ahead, we are looking at sustaining these gains that we are making. You've requested for further support to accelerate this positive decline we are seeing. What more can the state do to ensure that we are reaching more persons who are quite unaware of their HIV status?
Yes, as we talked about the support, the state support with respect to the dwindling external funding for HIV. As part of the responsibility, the state is taking up an increasing role in what we call co-financing mechanisms of the external funding. Every external funding has a co-financing mechanism, and the state has ramped up its co-financing mechanism. You'll remember it last year when the step-up program stopped, the USIG government called for the stop to all these interventions. The President, Excellency, immediately directed the finance minister to release up to $70 million to take care of the funding gap, which has helped a lot in closing up that financing mechanism. Going forward, that financing gap is going to be rolled onto the uncapping aspect of the national health insurance, so that the co-financing mechanism is tackled from that aspect. More so, Ghana has also developed sustainable mechanisms of HIV national response. To the extent that we are looking at the fact that when there are no external funds, what do you rely on? We have developed that framework and started operationalizing. We are now looking at an investment case that will give enough funding funds to allow us to sustain the response for a very long time if the funding does it. And we are looking to various perspectives of the investment case, which will soon come out as soon as possible.
Okay, grateful. Dr. Kamsel Prosper Agyabeng, we are grateful for your time this evening. He is the Director General for the Ghana AIDS Commission. Let's do business now.
Is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
In the business brief tonight, former Deputy Finance Minister Dr. Stephen Amoah has called for a policy shift to introduce price controls on selected goods and services as part of efforts to address rising costs in the country. The Nshayasu Member of Parliament argues that Ghana's continued reliance on a free market system may not be enough to protect consumers, proposing a mixed economic approach where government plays a stronger role in regulating prices. He made the remarks in a statement on the floor of Parliament.
Most modern economies have adopted and have been operating mixed market economies, especially United Kingdom, United States of America, and Germany. Mr. Speaker, I am proposing a mixed market economic system framework that will deal with or mitigate the adverse impact of the absolute free market economic system in Ghana. I suggest that the relevant committees in Parliament should further look into it and, if possible, advise the appropriate body for the necessary steps to be taken, either a new bill or a specific policy framework, and that is by the executive, and make sure they realize the policy shift that I am calling for. A price cap law or policy can be introduced to deal with the exorbitant charges by monopolies, oligopolies, and cartels in our existing market economic system, which inimically impacting cost and standard of living in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, please permit me to introduce a few, but not only, other economic fundamental policies that need executive stroke or a legislative attention. Mr. Speaker,
let's talk about entrepreneurship and hear from Go to Go Summit 2026, which brought together entrepreneurs and business leaders to share practical lessons on turning ambition into sustainable and globally competitive enterprises. Delivering the keynote address, renowned entrepreneur and chief executive officer of the EIB network, Nathan Kwabena ADC, known as Bolare, emphasized the critical role of discipline in building and sustaining successful businesses.
Industry leaders and innovators gathered to share insights and practical strategies for building globally competitive businesses at an entrepreneurship summit held under the theme, The Architecture of Ambition, Bridging Vision and Value for Global Dominance. Addressing aspiring entrepreneurs, professionals and business leaders, Chief Executive Officer of the EIB Network, Nathan Kwabena ADC, popularly known as Bolare, stressed that talent alone is not enough to achieving lasting success. He says discipline, consistency, resilience and continuous learning are key to turning ambitious ideas into successful businesses.
Well, be afraid. I'll tell them to trust the process, and put in the work. Also, like I said, be disciplined. Many want the results before they go through the mail. But, keep your head up, be focused, and put in the work. It will pay off, definitely. Once you're consistent, you're disciplined, something positive will come out.
Executive Director of Reinvent Africa Network, IB Jansa, announced that the next summit in December will feature a deal room where young entrepreneurs can pitch innovative ideas to secure funding for their projects.
All I want to share about this is that there's going to be a deal room. So if you know what deal room means, it's where founders, startup founders, meet investors and we connect them, because it's not only about their ambition or the architecture of ambition. It's needed to be funded. So this is a place where we're going to bring investors and we're going to bring startup founders or all kinds of founders and connect them so they can be founded, their dreams and their ideas can be founded. Thank you.
Bolare was presented with a citation in recognition of his outstanding contributions to Ghana's media and business sectors, as well as his commitment to mentoring young entrepreneurs, creating opportunities and promoting excellence through visionary leadership.
That's it for business. Up next, the sports.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
And it's time for sports. My name is Felix Dazi. The Black Queens of Ghana continue their preparations for the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations with a goalless draw against Tanzania in an international friendly. Ghana dominated possession and created several promising chances throughout the match, but were unable to find a breakthrough against a disciplined Tanzanian defense. The 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations will be held in Morocco from July 25th, with the Black Queens opening their group campaign against Cape Verde on July 29th. Head coach Kim La's son praised his side's defensive organization after the match, but admitted the team lacked the cutting edge in the final third.
Decent first half, good defense. I wish we could.
Fatau Ishaku has spent a 5-year deal with Premier League side Ipswich Town ahead of the 2026-2027 season. The former Leicester City winger is said to have secured a deal worth £20 million. Meanwhile, Englishman Anthony Taylor has officially retired as a professional referee at age 47. Taylor officiated 831 games across 2 decades. Elsewhere, France has also officially signed former captain Zinedine Zidane as head coach until 2030. The World Cup winner is set to be unveiled to begin a new era with the 2027 Nations League, Euro 2028 and World Cup 2030 as targets. All right, well, that's it for sports. International news is up next. Don't go anywhere.
On international front, the ECOWAS has urged Guinea-Bissau's military leaders to unconditionally release all detained political figures. In a statement at the end of a summit of heads of states in Sierra Leone, it said this would bolster the credibility of the country's transition process. The release would include freeing opposition leader and former Prime Minister Domingos Pereira, who was jailed again earlier this month. He has been accused of economic crimes and involvement in an alleged coup attempt in 2025. And that does it for the entire broadcast. On behalf of the production led by Stella Boucher, directed by GHOne, with support from the technical team, my name is Emmanuel Agyabeng. Thank you so much for staying with us on the entire broadcast. For more news, do log on to starfm.com.gh. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.